Hey guys, so it's been a while since I logged on, so I figured I'd come on and give you all a quick TTC update. So let's get it. And also, I'm going to talk about IVF price and how the cost and things like that. So, one of the biggest updates is my wife and I have decided that it's in my best interest to switch my insurance company. Neither one of us are comfortable or confident with Kaiser anymore as our insurance company. So we will be switching. Another thing about having Kaiser is they are great. It's convenient because all your doctors, specialists, all of that is under one roof. But if something happens when you're out of town or something, you are really limited on where you can be seen. So what will happen in the case of an emergency? So we decided to switch. A lot of you have asked me, why won't you switch? Why won't you switch? The reason switching was so difficult for me is because in 2012, I was diagnosed with lupus. I'm also severely anemic. And for the first 2 years of being diagnosed, I felt like a guinea pig with my previous insurance provider. I think I was with Aetna, And it was to the point where I was taking like 10 pills a day. It was so crazy. I'm almost positive when my wife first stayed the night at my house, she probably freaked out seeing all of them medicine jars on my dresser. It was crazy. But I was taking like 10 pills a day. And when my company no longer utilized Aetna and I switched to Kaiser, Kaiser doctors made the decision to treat me more on the rheumatoid side instead of just focusing on it's lupus, let's just run all these tests. And them doing that has helped me tremendously. I went from taking 10 pills a day to no pills at all. And that's somewhere I never thought I would be. First being diagnosed with this, my body went through it, y'all. Like, through it. To the point that my weight dropped so low. I think I was probably back to my high school weight, and I was not comfortable with my weight in high school at all. I was very thin, and it was very uncomfortable. I'm going to put a picture in right. So that's the main reason why it was so difficult for me to just change insurance companies, because it's like I kind of felt self-consciously like I owed them, like I had to continue to be a customer of theirs, although I felt like I couldn't trust them anymore, although I felt like they didn't protect me as a patient with everything I went through with my fertility clinic. I still felt, because they helped healed me, and because I went from taking 10 pills a day and feeling horrible and looking like I'm dying and all of this stuff, to being healthy and not on any pills at all. I owed them my business. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that I don't owe them shit. I don't owe them nothing. I had to really have a lot of conversations with my wife where she made a great point. She said, babe, I don't care who you switch us to, but I need you to understand that whatever insurance provider you switch us to, you're going to be taking your records with you. So they'll be able to do everything that Kaiser has done for you, and maybe they can come up with something better. So, and that made a lot of sense to me. So that's that. And the other thing is, a lot of you have this assumption that when you have insurance, you could just switch. And I don't know how it is with private insurance, but when you have insurance through your employer, you are only allowed to change your benefits one time per year, and that's during open enrollment, which is now. And then your benefits will take effect January 1 of the next year. So that's that, y'all. So that's where we at on that. So I have been talking to my new insurance provider, and the good news is by switching over, my fertility treatment will be covered. That's the good thing. And when I say covered, I mean retrieval, transfer, monitoring, blood work, sonograms, all of that will be completely covered. The negative is I still may have to stay with Shady Grove Fertility. Womp, womp, womp. So the initial reason for me switching was to get away from them, but it seems like Shady Grove is the Xfinity of fertility treatment, and you just can't get away with them. And those of you who don't know who Xfinity is in the DC and Baltimore area, it's our cable provider, and they make it very hard for any other cable providers to offer service in these areas, and they are very expensive, and that's exactly how I feel about Shady Grove Fertility. So that sucks, because I might still have to be treated by them. I'm not even going to say might. I am going to have to go to them first. They did tell me that if for any reason that I feel I'm not being treated fair, my service is not, does not meet my expectations, if I feel like I'm being treated differently because my sexual orientation, my race, etc., 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 I can switch. So unlike Kaiser, where Kaiser only had Shady Grove Fertility, Care First has Shady Grove Fertility. They have Merlin Fertility Center in Merlin. They have Merlin Fertility in Rockville. They have Dominion, so on and so on. But I would have to be seen by Shady Grove first. So that sucks, but whatever. Whatever. I'm just, I'm at a place right now where I'm content with everything, and me taking a break from fertility and TTC and injections and all of that was necessary for my mental state. So I'm just going to walk into this with the best thoughts, hopeful, and we just go see what happens. Another update I got is I did contact my fertility doctor because, as you know, I have 6 IUIs with Kaiser. So I felt like, okay, she said at one time I can do IUIs. I hope I have my paper down here. I went back to school to get another degree, y'all. So I contact my fertility doctor about the IUIs, because if the chance of me being successful via IUI was the same as IVF, I was just going to stick it out with Kaiser and just try. But I found out that IUI is no longer an option. And this email is the reason why it has taken me so long to upload. And I'm going to tell you guys what she said. Everything in this email was news to myself as well as my wife. We were never made aware of this. But it seems like my fertility health has taken a drastic turn. So I contacted her and asked her about my 6 IUIs. As you can see, she emailed me back, as you can see. And she said, "Dear Regina, it is good to hear from you again. During the laparoscopy that you underwent with your gynecologist, Dr. Peters, last August, the right fallopian tube was adhered to the right pelvic side wall, and the tube and ovary was densely adhered to each other. Dr. Peters was able to remove the scar tissue between the tube and pelvic side wall, but was not able to remove the scar tissue between your ovary and tube. Where there is tissue surrounding the tube or ovary, the scar tissue can act as a barrier so that when the egg is released from the ovary, it cannot be picked up by the tube. Given the status of your remaining right fallopian tube, I do not believe IUI will result in pregnancy. IVF will give you the best chance to conceive. So, although she told my wife and myself in last September, when we had to do the follow-up for my surgery, that IUI was an option, as of right now, for whatever reason, I haven't been seen by her, my gynecologist, or anybody within this year. But for whatever reason, now I have all of this stuff wrong with me. So IVF is my only option. So that's what we're going to do, because having another child and expanding my family is not a goal of mine. It's a dream of mine. It's something that's important to me. It's just as important as breathing. So it's something that I need to do everything that I possibly can to make happen. So if that means I gotta go back to getting injections, that's what I'm gonna do. It's a little disappointing, because one of the reasons I was able to take a break from TTC and the stresses of IVF and injections was because we were holding on to being told that we can do IUI. So we felt like the surgery was a success, when it wasn't unsuccessful, but it was kind of like success good, if that makes sense. So I'm gonna try to do another video tonight on prices, because as I told you, it's a high chance that my fertility will be covered, but there is a tiny chance that it won't be covered. So my doctor was gracious enough to have the financial person give me prices, and we'll talk about that. And if you guys have any questions regarding this super long video, contact me down below, or I will say DM me, but I'm locked out of my Instagram account. I don't know how, but